Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how did you know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast, our Sunday show. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Danny Guru.
Jennifer, nice to see you today. How are you?
Nice to see you too. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to everyone.
Yes, today is November 20th. We're going to be entering into Thanksgiving week. So for those of you who will be celebrating, happy holidays. We wish you the best with your family. And before we dive into today's episode, where we're going to be going over the gates of the Sacral Center, we are on episode number 29.
Wow.
We've been doing it's almost been a year.
Yep. It's a great number too.
Yes, it is. So we're going to be going over all the gates in the Sacral Center. Before we do that, please make sure that you share this out. If you know somebody that would benefit from it, share it to them, tag them in a post. You can find all of our stuff on our social media. And if you haven't already gotten a session with Dan, make sure that you guys do that as well. He'll be able to help you with everything that you've got going on in your sacral center, whether it is defined or not.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about the gates of the Sacral Center and the Sacral Center itself. And I guess we'll start on gate number 29 because it's the date today.
That's yes.
Yeah. Yep. And I was noticing something as I was going through all this. The Sacral Center, all the gates of the Sacral Center are in some of the coolest incarnation crosses. It really empowers much of this wheel. It's actually pretty cool. So I'm not sure. Let's pull up the image first. That is the Sacral Center in the middle, sort of a red circle.
Okay, give me one moment. I got the slides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So people, get used to this notion. The Sacral Center is sitting here in the middle to sort of exemplify the fact that all the other types in the planet are revolving, in a sense, around this sacral motor. If we take the sacral off the planet, birth rates would plummet, and I don't know that we would actually survive. The Sacral Center is called the life force, not for a mystical reason, but for a mechanical reason. As we go through the gates, you'll start to see why it is, when I say every force is the life force when it's in a channel. So all your channels are the life force in you, and they all matter. Of course, the Sacral Center is the life force of the planet because it constantly is making more life. It's the sexual apparatus in the body, as we've gone over before. All of the centers in the body graph you see on the right, all of these centers are the organs and the places in our body that are emanating their vibratory nature up to the surface to then become the characteristics for which that gate describes, that gate and that line. And the Sacral Center is no different. It's doing that. And the gates of this are all about the perseverance and the movement and the use of energy that ensures humanity's survival. So I said we would start with gate number 29. So move over to the slide before this. Gate 29, top right. By the way, remember we were going to come up with introductions for people. Savannah's going to come on late. She's got a child she's taking care of. And we never came up with an introduction for her. So Savannah is one of my longest standing students, and she teaches yoga, and she's a mom of 4 generator babies as a projector mother in a projector mom and dad household.
I was just going to say that both parents are projectors.
Yep, and they're doing it. They're doing the thing. They're conserving their energy, and human design has helped them a great deal.
Yes, I do think Savannah needs an introduction, because I don't think we've ever done an introduction.
No, we just say hi, Savannah, and then I skip merrily along my way as if that's good enough. And of course, you pointed out we need an introduction. So she has been introduced. Gate 29, it's called the Abysmal. That's the I Ching name for it. So that's what the Chinese called it, because they recognize that there's a way in humanity that when someone is persevering with their energy, they keep persevering with it. It's this deep within the deep that keeps that goes down into this depth, grabs the perseverance that is going to sustain an activity. And the activity 29 sustains that is keeping itself in place during the experience. During any experience, it's here bringing experiences to actual fruition. That's what 29 is doing. It is this energy that sustains, that guarantees perseverance. Humanity needs perseverance.
Yes, it does.
For its survival. If humanity was nothing but a sacral, we would still be in the trees. We'd never have gotten to the moon. A bunch of other things. We wouldn't know what deep love is. So Forrest wouldn't be able to say, Jenny, I know what love is. All of that, yep, there'd be no consciousness, but we would survive. We would be, and if we were nothing but a sacral, we would be an incredibly resilient surviving species until something came along and blew us up, of course. But
very busy. One too.
Yes, super duper busy. So that's the nature of the sacral, and that's why I showed it with the other types orbiting around the sacral. So this perseverance, generating and sustaining, generating energy to commit one's resources, and the resources is that sacral, to an experience, and to preserve and persevere that energy despite circumstances. That's why it was called the Abysmal. It's like, oh, look at that. His farm got salted, and he's still breaking the ground, trying to make the farm grow. Oh, look, they came along and took all his stuff. So he's out there with his hands, persevering to dig the dirt and plant the farm. Oh, look, no rain came. He's persevering. The man goes to the river and carries back 2 buckets at a time and waters the crops. Perseverance. It's abysmal. I mean, it can be. So when you feel that, like you're staying at it too long, recognize that your gate 29, if you have a gate 29 in your body graph, is basically committing you into the process of this experience that you're abysmally going to say yes to. So we call it the gate of saying yes. Every time I see this gate in a body graph, I'm always able to call out, oh, you say yes when you really mean no, an awful lot. And you get pissed at yourself for that, right?
That's good. That's a good thing to be aware of, because a lot of people, that also goes with a lot of conditioning that we are
supposed to say yes.
Yes, we're supposed to say yes.
We're not supposed to say yes, right?
Interesting.
Hell no, we're not supposed to say yes. We're supposed to say what all of these gates demand. All of these gates demand a response. They don't demand a predetermined outcome. So saying yes is a predetermined outcome if that's what you do. The response is, I don't know, or no, half the time or more.
Can you tell people how to recognize their responses?
Yes, that responsiveness, whether you're a generator or not, if you have a gate 29 in your body graph, this gate will respond with its ability to persevere at the thing it's getting into.
No, I mean, but like, would you feel it in your body? And if so, what would it feel like?
It would feel, well, as a response in a generator, that's a yes response. That's like, oh yeah, I want to do that. It would feel like, I want to learn tennis. Someone says, hey, let's hit the ball. Now suddenly the perseverance of gate 29 says hit the ball, hit the ball, hit the ball, hit it. They abysmally and perseveringly hit the ball, and then that person does what all generators are supposed to do. They're supposed to master things level by level and gain their mastery. Ra and his team did a study of tennis players, I think it was, and it turns out they had gotten a hold of the charts of some 20 of them, and only one of them wasn't a generator. And that's, but if there was 20 people, one of them should have been a manifestor, 2 or 3 should have been a projector, maybe there'd be a reflector, hit or miss, and so only maybe 14 or 15 of them should have been a generator. So the numbers were askew. Yes. Because tennis is a uniquely gate 29 and sacral. It's actually all the gates of this body graph and of this center very much exemplify what is the game of tennis. Because think of what those guys do. It's technically it's wicked repetitive. Hit the ball.
It is very repetitive,
but it's exciting to them.
That is so interesting that you say that. I'm now starting to think. I used to work, the country club I worked for was a tennis club.
Yep.
And
so the people out on the tennis courts, they weren't all generators, of course. It's just that it is a generator.
I wonder how many had gate 29.
Right. Right. That would have been interesting to see. And the ones that did would have been the ones staying there if it was a defined sacral. Hey, let's play another round.
Yes.
So it comes as this beautiful yes response, and it's so existential that this response, not only is it in the moment like it's supposed to be, but its perseverance in a sustained manner is supposed to stay in the moment, moment by moment by moment, for the minute or days or hours that they're in the experience of releasing this energy. Don't forget, the sacral is simply about the release of energy. Biologically, it's our reproductive organs in our body. It's simply the testicles and the ovaries of the planet. It's all about sustaining the ability to create new life. And generally in the human population, it simply is keynoted with sustainment and keeping the energy going until the energy is truly gone.
These are hard workers.
They very much can be, or totally not. They enter into a yes when the answer was really, when the sacral response was hell no, and then they're terribly good quitters. You know what I'm saying? And then they get a chip on their shoulder. I quit. I didn't want to be a quitter. And people say, why'd you quit? And if only their beautiful 5-year-old was present and accounted for, because they were in their experience, they would have the language that says, I didn't quit, I stopped. 2 different things.
Yeah, it is 2 different things. That's a good thing that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
It's important that we listen to what our body is saying, because it's not steering us wrong. We're just not taught to pay attention to what our responses are.
And to listen to it, like almost verbatim, you know what I mean? It is telling us what's true.
Yes.
Every reading I do, I point out, if you go back to when you were 4 or 5 years old, you had no issue with being true. It wasn't hard. It was our parents and conditioning that taught us to essentially lie to ourselves.
You go back to your 5-year-old, you'll learn so much about you.
Yeah. I do it all the time. Take people back there and remind them that little guy had no problem to just moving on, and they never quit anything. They would start and then they would stop. No,
they wouldn't.
Think of the trip that puts on us, you're a quitter. And all the gates will get that trip, but this gate very especially will get that trip. You're a quitter. So I'm gonna so that's gate 29, and basically the expression of it, and let me pull up what gate 29 is as it relates to the heading underneath it, and then we'll move on to gate 14. I figure we'll just go counterclockwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if we can get. This may be a 2-parter too.
This may very well. You know what? Let's not go counterclockwise. Let's go according to the stream that it's in. This gate would cross over the sacral and go to 42 on the other end.
Okay.
the desire to get into the experience in the first place. So 29, this gate of perseverance, the deep within the deep, persistence despite its difficulty has its rewards only when entered into according to your strategy and authority. Otherwise, it'll have its persistent, abysmalness. People saying, yes, can I have one of your cows? Yes. Can I have all your eggs? Well, no, but leave some for me. Can I have your energy? Can I have, yes, yes, yes. And the next thing you know, it's this person has entered into too many things, and then they feel like a quitter. So that's gate 29, and it's a potent thing. The foundation of gate 29 is basically the draftee, this ability to adapt to struggle when necessary. That's the foundation of this. The struggle of keeping yourself in what the channel itself is. The channel is the channel of discovery. It's the perseverance of the human way in an experiential process to discover what's at the end. What's at the end of the rainbow? What's at the end of the rainbow was your body. Your love of your body was in a place at a certain time, and you discovered what that meant to you. We're constantly doing that.
Yes.
And hence it becomes the basis of the channel of discovery. It perseveres at the discovery. We're digging for gold. There's no gold. We're digging for gold. It's 2 weeks later, no gold. A month later, finally, there is, or not. Either way, their energy was spent, right? And they were in the experience of almost killing themselves as they got down deeper and deeper and kept digging for gold. So gate 29, sustaining energy to persevere. And it is fueled by gate 42. So what's it going to persevere at? It's going to persevere at what gate 42 says down in the lower left-hand corner.
Right here.
So increase. Yep, the gate of growth. And it's this maximization of resources that is expansive. And it's about the expansion of resources. And what is the resource it would be expanding? I'm going to read it to you. Sorry, just keep my book handy. Increase, the gate of growth, expansion of the resources, which maximizes development of any process, which maximizes its development into its full potential. So what are the resources that are expansive? The sacral energy to sustain.
Yes, because you need that. Like, it's the consistency, it's the drive to keep going.
The drive to keep going and become expansive. And it runs off track when it becomes too expansive, expanded beyond all control, and boom, blows up in a supernova. Oops, back to the drawing board. This gate of increase, this gate of growth, it's this generative energy, the sacral sustaining energy to focus on what it takes to complete and finish a cycle. The power to mature and grow through the completion of any cycle. So it's part of the channel of maturation. Right below gate 42 is gate 53. And gate 53 is the adrenalized root energy to start a process. It's hungry to start. Hungry, start. And we dealt with this last week. And the week before.
Yes, we went over that last week.
Yep. And so it's hungry to start. And then in that start, suddenly the sacral sustaining energy, if it's a correct response for you, that sustaining energy wants to expand and develop and grow and grow. So what naturally does that lead to? It crosses over the sacral in this circuitry, this collective abstract circuitry that's about experiencing stuff. Humanity is nothing without its experiences. We're nothing. There's no movies, there's no literature, there's no depth, there's no nothing without constantly having all these experiences. There's no love, there's no passion, no romance, there's none of it without this sustaining into the experience. So if 42 is expanding and expanding and expanding, it requires gate 29 to grab that and add its sacral fuel to sustain at the perseverance of it all. It's a natural progression. And again, this is all generated inside the sacral center, generated as a response to the stimuli that came in, and able to sustain from the moment you generate yourself awake to the moment you degenerate yourself asleep. And we've seen that in children. Children show us the glory of all these gates.
Uh-huh.
And in a generator child, they'll show you the glory of all these gates, on times 10. You just watch and take notes of whatever gates your child has in their sacral, and you will see all of these aspects in them over and over and over again. If they have an open sacral, you'll still see these aspects in them over and over again. They'll be more intermittent rather than sustained.
My son has that. He has that gate. He actually has the whole channel too.
He does have, that's right. And so
I can see that in him.
And he just perseveres. He stays at it. What's his newest thing? He got into something. I forgot what it was. You mentioned it the other day.
He's in wrestling right now.
Does he like it?
Yeah, he's been in it for, I want to say 3 years now. And before that, it was banned. But, going back to thinking of how he was when he was younger and playing, like even with his Legos or his trains, it was when he was focused on something. I mean, he kept doing at it and kept,
Right.
Changing things or gaining different experiences, figuring out what worked, what he liked.
And level by level, he gained his mastery over his things until
Yes.
it was enough and he was satisfied, whereby he stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Because sooner or later, he stopped playing with his trains, I assume, right? He moved on. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So it's at the moment that your sacral child, if they have it either way, but it's at the moment that your child, if they have a gate 29 or a 43, it's at the moment that they stop that you need to assure them they're not quitting. They're moving on. They've gained their mastery, or they've recognized it's not where they want their energy to be sustaining at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sustaining is a prison. You have a gate 42, and it's this gate of increase, and it wants to finish the cycle of the experience. Gate 53 starts it in the root center below, and gate 42 grabs it and says, okay, I'm going to bring this through to completion. It's even called the gate of completion in a sense. It completes things as it relates to taking all that energy and sustaining at getting yourself through. So let's say you get trapped in a marriage and you don't like it. Well, you found out in the first year you didn't like it, but you got a gate 42 and a gate 29 in your body graph, or even just a gate 42. You'll find that you feel stuck, unable to get out because you haven't completed some part of a process. And then we can wake you up to that. And it's not about getting out or not. It's about understanding it. In fact, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you find yourself feeling that way, bring your relationship self in, and I'll do a couples reading for you to show you where each of the other is helpless. So it's an amazing thing. So gate 42 wants to persevere, and it's part of the format channel. So it's gonna color and influence everything in the body graph to want to have this sort of rhythm that says this perseverance and the sustaining that wants to sustain at the activity that it started. If it started it, it wants to sustain it. It wants to complete that cycle and get all the way through and mature the process through to completion. So if you find yourself stuck and you find yourself depressed because you can't get out, this would be a great melancholy and even a depression that would come on. I got in and I can't get out. A job, a friendship, a situation, a conversation, whatever it is, will start to teach you that this is in you. And now you can start to listen to your responsiveness, or you can follow your strategy and your authority, and it will lead you out the door without having to then be mad. Most sacral gates and most sacral activity, when it finally goes to stop, it thinks it's quitting. So it feels itself as a quitter, not always, but often. And it has a hard time getting out. And so we can teach that person, does your response want you out? Do you feel recognized here? Are you making the impact you want? Are you disappointed? So I'm keynoting the strategies and the signatures of the and the not self themes of all the 4 types. That's
Those
what
are
I'm coming
key
right.
things to bring awareness to for sure.
Right.
Uh,
And-
Savannah's ready to come on. So
Sure.
was waiting for you to get to
Yeah.
just a breaking moment. Hey, Savannah.
Hi.
So
How are you guys?
we gave you an introduction, Savannah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. So are you guys, which gate are you guys on? Gate
We're
42?
finishing up 42.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this expansive energy comes with a necessary depression because it's so powerful. These are in the format channels inside the body graph. It's just a term we use. I'll teach you about it when you call it in. And 42's depression would essentially be, I'm hanging on and I don't want to. I think
And so many people are stuck in that.
yeah. I'm trying to complete this process. I'm trying to bring it to fruition. And I don't want to be here doing that. My energy sucks at it. I don't want to do it. And so if you start to feel that type of a sadness or a pressure in your psyche, recognize, and you have this gate 42, recognize this gate 42 has grabbed you like a like the iron fist, and it's holding you there. And it's not right for you. You simply need to recognize it so you can say, oh my God, as scared as I am to stop, I'm stopping. And you can be like the 5-year-old that knows it doesn't quit anything. The 5-year-old stops. And we got to start to really draw that distinction. There are no quitters out there. There's stoppers. Sometimes I stop. What the hell's wrong? What's wrong with that? Nothing. So
gate 42 gets like anxious or depressed if they aren't able to finish something that they started, or if they quit things before something's finished. Would that just kind of like drive them crazy?
Yeah, they think there's a problem. It gives them this pressure inside of them that they think they want to sustain at it because the mind grabs a hold of it and says, hey, you're a sustaining energy. But the sacral says, I stopped sustaining a month ago. For God's sakes, let me loose already. Mm-hmm. And so, right, Savannah, we could talk someone through that in a reading and be like, you don't have to stay in the thing. And then we can start asking them questions.
Mm-hmm.
But again, so 42 is here to generate that energy that will do that, and will always do that. So I'm ready to move on to another gate. Savannah, we were sort of taking the various streams in either the collective stream or the individual or the collective understanding circuit, the logic circuit. So I figure we'll go to. Do you guys want to go around in clockwise or counterclockwise, or do you want to go through?
I don't know. I mean, gates.
I'm just writing. If we do a part 2, I'm writing down what gates you're already going over. So just make sure that whatever flow you go, we're not.
Yeah. Do you want to do gate 59? My husband has gate 59 and his son, so I feel like I have a lot of experience with that gate. And
well, if we do gate 59, then we'll do 27 on the other side.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 59, this gate of dispersion. So it's our generative sustaining ability to constantly lean into the dispersion of what literally 59 is, the dispersion of our eggs and our seeds. We disperse them in order to get them fertilized and make more. It's not aware, guys. 59 doesn't have an awareness. It just wants to penetrate, and
it wants to reproduce.
Yep.
Yeah, they say people who have gate 59 or gate 6 on the other side, that aren't they just naturally very fertile people? Like they get pregnant easily. They usually don't have problems with fertility. Isn't that right, Dan?
Yep. That's exactly right. And so 59 has this beautiful. So you'd figure the human body is loaded with all these awesome strategies and things that work for it. 59 is called the aura breaker. It's got this sustained, natural, focused, and penetrating sort of energy that once you get into the aura of the other, it breaks down their ability to withstand you. And so you let them in. Now, you might not keep them in. You're going to kick them out a few minutes later if you don't like it, or you'll let them in further if you do. But it breaks down the barriers to union. That's its purpose. Its purpose is constantly break it down. So these people, they come in to shake your hand, and if there's 2 salesmen and one's got a 59 and one doesn't, the one with the 59 is likely going to have more successful door knocks that day, as a potential. So
Yeah.
It's
So you're saying someone who had gate 59, they'd make kind of like a natural salesman or have more success in sales because they are
More
able
charisma?
to.
huh?
More charisma?
But with just more invitability to allow your defenses to drop. So a gate 59 can even penetrate your aura, Jen.
Yes.
Even though you could put your shields up, and then if gate 59 leans in and sort of
Well, I have gate 6.
right, and so that would naturally be attractive to you. And so if gate 59 leans into you, suddenly a moment earlier you'll be like, no, I was just resisting you, I don't want to hear that, and you're about to move on your way. But if they trap you in their aura for a moment, suddenly they're breaking through. They won't that can't keep you there. It's not a recipe for keeping, it's a recipe for getting.
It'd be enough to catch my attention.
Right, to get you in. What were we going to say, Savannah?
Oh, so my dad has gate 59, and then so does my husband, because my dad is born August 28th, and then my husband was born August 27th. So they both have that gate 59, and their son, gate 59 is a Virgo gate, Virgo energy gate. I don't know if that will help people kind of get the energy of it, but it's just funny to me, right? Because yeah, it's just all about like breaking down barriers, and they're really good at like creating connection, creating closeness, resolving conflict, making sure like everyone's getting along. Like that's how I've seen gate 59 work in my life, like with my dad and then also my husband. But it also probably makes sense why I would be maybe like attracted to my husband, right? Because he has that same energy, that same kind of like caring bonding energy.
And you have a gate 6.
Yes, and I have a gate 6 on the other side, so that would also explain why me and my husband would be attracted to each other. He has that gate 59, so he's good at breaking down the barrier of gate 6 that is always kind of putting up a wall and scared to let
ask a personal question, Savannah. Not that this is a guarantee of anything, but personally speaking, so who was the more of the advancer in those first moments and days? I mean, at first you meet someone, then you date them a little bit, right? And sooner or later something happens, right? And so who was the pusher of the let's get something to happen here?
Oh, it was totally Jake. It was totally Jake. I wasn't the one. I was the one that was more like, oh, I don't know about this.
Right,
like
because gate 6 is caution. Gate 6 is a friction, is a resistance to that energy, because it knows once it lets that energy in, there's conflict.
Yeah,
conflict. It's just that there's friction now.
Yeah, because gate 6, the fear of gate 6 is this fear of closeness, this fear of being vulnerable, fear of intimacy. So that's why someone with 59 would come in and they're just kind of charismatic and know how to kind of break down your barriers and the walls you put up and makes you feel comfortable and safe and secure in a relationship. So they just kind of suck people in who have gate 6 to make them feel secure and loved. So it makes
Either.
We all have a gate 6, Jennifer. You have a gate 6 in your body graph.
Yeah, I have a gate 6. You have a gate 6?
I have a gate 6, and it automatically determines that there will or won't be intimacy. So that's rather interesting.
I can see it play out my life that way.
Yeah. So you found yourself absolutely closed. Even if all of us has found ourselves absolutely closed to the other because of our gate 6, even gate 59 closed to it because we weren't sure if that would be the right intimacy. Gate 6 can withstand even the strongest of the Casanova that would come in, or the femme fatale that would seem so attractive. All of us have withstood that at times in our lives, where everyone else was like, what, are you crazy? What the hell? Da, da, da. Dude, he was cute. She was hot. Whatever all the things were when we were young and all the stuff we'd say. But if gate 6 says no, it's the pH of the body, and it says no. There can be no union. And 59 is still there trying to break down the union, break down the barriers to create union. And it's to create it in all different types. The union of the moment, when you meet somebody, the union of two friends, parents, you name it. So there's
but Dan, also I know sometimes gate 59, sometimes it doesn't, it has to kind of learn like when the right timing is to create connection. And like sometimes they don't know when the right timing is to
It's one
being
of our
being
gates.
close. It's like sometimes they're, and I kind of noticed that a little bit with my husband, is sometimes it's almost like he
No,
doesn't
because
read
no,
the situation. Sometimes it's almost like he just wants that connection.
it's
You know,
easy to
one,
lose track of this timing. I find that when people have this channel or this gate, that they don't have to have the right timing. They'll find it. But guys, do realize that do realize that timing, this word timing, is truly to be applied to all the gates of the body graph.
yeah. But I mean, isn't it also six? Gate 6 kind of knows when. Gate 59 kind of looks to gate 6 to know when the right timing is, you know, for certain, you know, for closeness or bonding or connection. Sometimes gate 6 is almost teaching gate 59, like, okay, right now is not a good time, or
Right.
you have to be resolved first.
Think about the duality of those two. So gate 59 has no awareness, and gate 6 is in an awareness center. The awareness that we're open to the union that very likely may create a child. So let's be careful of gate that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's, if you put this channel together on two people, careful, because they're going to make babies accidentally or on purpose. And it's not a guarantee that they will. It's just that the likelihood goes up quickly. Gate 9 breaks down the aura of the other in the moment as a person of consequence in order to see if they will achieve union. It's a mechanic. Count on it. It's sustaining because it's in the sacral. It's a response because it's in the sacral. The responsibility to enter into the union that could potentially be fertile.
Oh, but also about gate 59, like sometimes it is always viewed as like the sexuality gate, but it's also about like taking care of its young. It's all about,
not 59,
you know,
59.
like providing for, you know, the children. Like they would love to work to make sure that their kids are taken care of and provided for. And also with like in business, they like to create, you know, business deals and business connections and kind of disperse their, you know, their influence and their
Savannah, yes. Think about dispersion. In the old days, it was mostly disperse your seed, right? To make more. Disperse your seed and your eggs to make more. But that dispersion, then the seeds of fruitful business, the seeds of a fruitful relationship, the seeds of a fruitful friendship, family, all of it. Any kind of relationship, it's dispersing itself in to see where will the fruitfulness be. And it's not itself seeing the fruitfulness. Gate 6 on the other side is seeing where's the fruitfulness to all of that. So this gate is part of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And the phoenix is the bird. The bird must fly, and the bird is waking up, and it's getting both its wings. Right now, it's mostly masculine wings because we live in that sort of patriarchal, sort of dominated society that has been that way for too long. And pretty soon that other wing, that feminine wing, as it starts to really unleash itself, suddenly the flight will level out. That's what's happening in us now. We're leveling out, and it seems emotionally chaotic.
It's definitely happening.
It's happening, and it's supposed to happen. We had an era in time of the yin, and then we had an era in time, thousands of years of the yin, thousands of years of the yang. Now it's time to be like, hey, it's not one or the other, guys. It's both.
So do you want to move over to gate 26? Because that's considered the more feminine
27
side of the body graph, right? Because gate 59 is like the masculine providing energy, and then gate 27 is more like the nurturing of the children.
Well, yeah, let me finish up by reading this. It generates the sexual energy for bonding and creating new life. It's the energy to break down the barriers to create the intimacy or the union in any kind of relationship, creative business adventures, family, all of it. And that's why we call it the aura breaker. So, and now there's a steady flow. So the sacral, before we went through our change hundreds of years ago into this 9-centered being, the main flow of the sacral still is and always was from 59 to 27. That's the natural flow going through the sacral. All the other gates in the sacral, except for 34, have to cut across that flow. It's sort of an image worth putting into your mind. So that maturing process we were talking about, it's cutting across that flow, and suddenly that maturing process is what you were just talking about, Savannah. Suddenly that maturing process and the perseverance is the perseverance to make the baby. You know, because it has to cut across this stream. It's constantly mixing up with this stream of energy that goes from 59 over to 27. So after 59 has sustained at making the babies, 27, love this gate 27, the gate of nourishment. The gate, yeah, look at it, even arrows right there. It's a straight shot right through. And it's the primary function of what this would do. Yep, 6 down to 59, all the way over to 27. That then goes up to 50 in the spleen. It makes a smile in the body graph if you just see those two.
Yeah, it does.
Yep. And so 27, nourishment, this gate of caring, and it determines that we must care deeply. 27 is part of the cross of the unexpected, because unexpected things are happening, like, oh, a little bundle of joy just showed up. You know, gate 27 is the root of dealing with the unexpected, because fertility and conception, even if you're trying, is still, it wasn't there, and then boom, it's there. So it can be very unexpected. Gate 27 has the ability to sustain at caring and nurture through the moments of the unexpected. So it's generated. So what's gate 27 going to care about? It's going to care about a yes response, an affirmative, sacral, I care about this. And then suddenly now all the other gates we just read are going to come into play, right? Because this is an important role gate for us, our role in nurturing and caring for things. And the heading below the line is, I'm going to read this out. 27, nourishment, the gate of caring. It's the enhancement of the quality and the substance of all activities in your life through the act of caring. The enrichment of the substance of your own character through caring. That's a pretty big deal. Now that's going on in humanity. It's in the world. We can't turn it off. And much of our marketing on the planet markets to gate 27 and gate 50. They market.
I can see that.
What do you care about? Won't you care? And it's and notice it's on the left side of the body graph. So it's splenic. It's in the moment. It's not emotional. Yet they tug on gate 57. Don't you care about this? In an emotional way, and it becomes confusing. And suddenly we find ourselves buying products we don't need because we thought we cared about that.
Yes. Big time they do that.
Or how about this, Jennifer? We buy into concepts that are absolutely bad for us because they want us to care about it.
Oh, yeah. Both of it, and bombarded with it.
Yep, it's awful. What marketing does with these gates. If you just took the gates of the Sacral Center, you could complete your whole marketing program for any product you wanted, and then sprinkle in some other gates as you see fit. You know, we want them to be confused, sprinkle in some confusion. You know, we want them to feel whatever. We want them to explain stuff, sprinkle in some gate 23, you know, whatever it is.
That's an interesting concept. I'll have to research on that more.
Yeah, it's like gate 5 is fixed pattern. So they could sell to someone like, oh, you need this fixed pattern in your life, right? Like you need to have our workout tapes to do every morning.
Right.
To make it part of your habits. And yes, I could see what you're saying. They could fly. And I mean, they do, right?
Half the planet doesn't have a gate 5, or more than half the planet doesn't have a gate 5. Most people don't have a gate 5, and suddenly they wonder why they can't sustain at the fixed patterns, even though they think they care about the thing that was there. Notice what they think. So now the mind got involved. I think I care about this. And if someone just came along and asked the little generator yes or no questions and started really digging in, they'd find out, do you want to exercise every day? And the 5-year-old would be like, no. Not really. You know, you want to exercise some days, maybe sometimes. So, and realize you'll only use it once in a while.
Yeah. So gate 27, my mom has that one. She actually has the whole channel, the whole nurturing channel, and that was just so my mom, right? Like gate 27 is always making these, you know, meals, nutritious meals for the kids. Whenever we're sick, she was just so nurturing and, you know, gave us, you know, the medicine and everything we needed to get better. And so, because I know gate 27, it cares for the elderly, it cares for the sick, it cares for the babies. They want to raise the babies, and they're just so nurturing and loving to their babies. And that's just so how my mom is. And, you know, like grandbabies come over, she is just so, always trying to feed them, making sure their tummies are full, and making sure they have everything they need, like the clothes. And so, that's how I always think of gate 27. It's just this like
caring, and I'll read the thing.
Babies, make sure everyone's fed, like type stuff.
So the gate of caring it generates the power to care for, nurture, and protect their young, others, and those in your tribe.
But sometimes can it kind of go like the other end of the pendulum, right? Like it's almost like they overgive, they overcare to the point where they burn themselves out because they're giving so much of themselves and they don't take care of themselves. And
Absolutely.
so that could be like the shadow expression of it. It's
Totally.
just burnout, not caring
too much. Let me read the rest of this here. It's the role to nourish and nurture through the power and the act, because it's sustained, the act of caring and compassion, the act of caring. So whatever, if you have a gate 27, what you care about is terribly important to you. And you bring that energy into the world so that the rest of the world can realize, hey, what I care about is terribly important to me too. And it's part of the channel of preservation, a tribal channel that creates the law. It creates the law of what needs to be cared for. It's gate 27 is on the cross of the unexpected, and it meets up with gate 50 on the other end, and it says, we create the laws. The law is that which became unexpected. Suddenly, gate 50 says, we have a cauldron of values that we can persevere at the sustained caring and create laws around this, and then also change and corrupt those laws if those laws are no good. So all these gates are in these really cool incarnation crosses that I think is worth calling out as we do.
Then doesn't also gate 57, it's like they have to learn how to do their own self-care.
Savannah,
and,
gate 50.
Or what?
Gate
57. Oh, is that gate 50? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said 57. It was gate 50.
I'm sorry, 57. I meant gate 27. 27. Yeah, they can almost kind of like forget to take care of their own needs, and then they can get burnt out, and then it affects their ability to like care and take care of other people. Right? So they have to learn to kind of like make sure they're taking care of themselves and getting their own needs met, and then that way they'll be able to better care for those around them, and because that's really what they love. They love to care for other people. So, but they got to be sure they fill their cup first before they can.
So, or there's an or not to all of this. Sometimes it becomes so self-absorbed if it's in a right angle profile, the right angle cross of the unexpected. That's Bill Gates's has that cross. That which he cares about deeply, he cares about for himself.
Oh,
that's what it does to everyone else. He cares.
My aunt has this gate, and she's
does.
on the cross of the unexpected.
So she cares about the things she cares about, and if something unexpected comes along, she's relatively nervous and then delighted about it, and could care less about you, Jen.
I know, it makes sense.
Right. So it's the gate of caring or not. Don't forget, it can atrophy and become or not, meaning don't care about the other. But since it's in a tribal channel, in the tribals, it fires up the streams of awareness of the spleen. It empowers it. That's what this gate is doing. And the next thing you know, that which you care about needs to be preserved. This channel of preservation preserves the babies. This channel of intimacy and mating on the other side, 59, makes the babies. We make the babies, we preserve the babies in a natural tribal flow. Both of these gates are in channels that are keynoted with support, the need to support, the sensitivity to support the other. So gate 59 goes off the rails when it just is trying to disperse its seed and isn't supportive at all. It doesn't feel good at the end of all of that, no matter how many orgasms showed up for that person, because they thought they were hunting the dispersion of their eggs or their seed, or their breaking down a barrier can sometimes be intoxicating, and it can feel like a great power. Oh, look at me, I can always break down the barrier, not realizing it is a great power. You know, it has to be used towards its highest and best. You can't just use it to break down the barrier of the other, or else you'll find you keep getting yourself into situations that are no good for you. Seemed really cool in the moment, and now it totally sucks a day or two or a week later. You know, so how cool were you now? Not very. You're an idiot. not you, but your not self was a perfect idiot for you. And that's what we need to get out of you. So intimacy, mating, and then the perseverance and the preservation, the need and the cauldron of values that preserve that which is worth caring for. So gate 50 is always regulating that caring. Bill Gates had no gate 50. There is no regulation to what Bill Gates cared for. So Bill Gates' selfish caring for only the things he wanted is not regulated by gate 50. And he probably, as I recall, it's not. I hope I'm not wrong about that.
I can't remember.
He had the whole channel.
Did he have the whole channel?
Yeah, the 2750.
Okay. Well, then his regulatory process of what's regulating what he cares for is a little off kilter. It's or not. So, so anyway.
What gate do you want to do next? Do you want to do? You have 34, don't you, Dan? Do you want to do that one?
Let's move up and around. So 34. Are there any questions out there about gate 27? It's gonna trap you into what you care for. It's gonna respond and sustain at what you care for, what you think. And if your not self is taking over your life, what you care for isn't you. And so suddenly you're stuck caring for things that you don't necessarily want to, or you think it's totally the right thing, and you're gonna stay at it.
Bill Gates has the whole channel.
Yep. So he's a whole dick instead of half of one. So yeah, moving up to 34. Now remember, guys, the world revolves around the sacral. The sacral sustains the energy that creates the life so that the life can exist in the world to revolve around something in the first place. And it's the life force. So 34 is the gate of power. And this gate of power is the power of the great. The gate of just great power. It generates and empowers the ability to keep yourself alive in the moment. It's the energy, and it's unique to be independent and display that power as of right now, to survive as yourself moment to moment. There's something I need to point out to this. If the sacral is basically the sustained sexual energy of the human body, gate 34 is carved out from that. Gate 34 is asexual. It has no sexual energy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's because it's simply great power to empower the now, empower the person to follow their own convictions, and empower their survival in the moment that the spleen gives it. If you can go over to the body graph again.
Yeah, give me one second. I was about to pop it up.
Yeah, so you can see gate 34 has got this special little spot. Look at 34 goes to 57. See?
Yeah.
Right there. So there's a channel. 34 also goes all the way up to gate 10. I have that. Right, 34. Yeah.
Oh, right here.
Hooks around and creates that little U shape. And then it goes up to gate 20. Gate 34 goes to gate 20 as well. So 10, 20, and 57 are not energy centers.
That's the only channel that does that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's the only. This is the only gate that empowers all of these functions. So gate 34 is busy. It's busy empowering survival in the now, survival as yourself, loving yourself, being your own self-centered in your own convictions, empowering your convictions, and it empowers your right now to have the charisma to suddenly take awareness and make it be deed. I'm aware, now it's deed. I'm aware, now it's a deed. Now I'm doing the thing. Gate 34 empowers all of that. It's got no time for sexuality. It's very busy displaying its power, and its power is so fundamental to human existence. If I read off what Gate 34's foundation is, you're going to love this. The power of the great. Power is only great when its display serves the common good. And the common good is a generated field that has the law, that has the preservation. The common good is that which you respond into as your nine-centered self, which seeks to empower yourself and others. The common good is the empowerment of yourself and others. So 34 is no good if it's not actually doing the work that empowers yourself and others. That's the greater good. again, I'm just every time you see a line and you read the lines inside the I Ching, the Rave I Ching, you have to put it in the circuitry. You have to put it in the center from what it is. You have to put it in to the stream of awareness it might be part of. So you have to put it in all those things to see what is the greater good. Isn't some cosmic greater good that certain other gates might be there to empower. It's just the greater good of empowerment of yourself and the other. It feels good when we empower the other. And it feels good when we are empowered in the now, because we can't help it.
Yeah.
So the gate of great power, and at the foundation of this great power is where we started. If a good exercise is to go ahead and read all the lines, if you have the book, go to the end of the book, starting around 330 or so, 325 or so on page, and take gate 34 and start at line 1 and read all the way up to line 6, and you'll see an evolution. You'll see the evolution of humanity from when we were cavemen, basically just surviving moment to moment, all the way up to basically where we are now. Gate 1, line 1 of gate 34 is called the bully, the indiscriminate use of power. Well, when we were cavemen, we needed our indiscriminate use of power, called the bully, to put our shoulder to the wheel, because indiscriminately something comes in on us and we need to use our power in the now.
Gate 34 is all about survival of the self, right?
Yep. It's the survival of the self, and it's very self-centered. It's very self-concerned. It's concerned with its own power. And this bully, don't read a negative thing into this thing. The resort of power and through the manifestation that comes from frustration. That's the book. Yeah. So,
yeah. Corinne asked which book are we referring to. So,
well,
it is The Human Design, the Science of Differentiation.
The Science of Differentiation.
Yes, the definitive book of human design. You can find it on Amazon, guys.
Yep. It's frustration, Savannah. What it does is 34 lives slightly frustrated with this hue of frustration that's sitting there waiting to display itself, because in its frustration, the sacral is there to respond to that frustration and use its power in the now. So gate 34, if you got a gate 34 in your body graph and it's attached to one of the other gates, there are times in your life when you were ready to heave the television out the window because it wouldn't work. You know, it's just great power in frustration in the now. And you're also able to do all the powerful things that are needed. Give me a gate 34 as a first responder and a paramedic all day long, please.
My aunt has this, and it's in line 1.
She's a bully.
Yes.
Her not self let me read it to her. Does it say it's in a detriment or an exaltation, or is it fixed any one way? There a little arrow next to it?
No arrow.
The energy.
It's in her south node, though.
Yeah, so the energy to display power as a response to frustration. So
that fits her to a T.
Yeah, and the other expression that can seem like sometimes a detrimental expression is let me read this word, the comeuppance. They're wanting to come up. So it's this always inevitable destiny of the bully, the ever-present risk that retaliation to that power and that display of power is at hand. The ever-present risk that you displayed too much power and now people are going to push against you, because that power is not in a vacuum. It is for the self. It's for the self-preservation of the self. The circuitry it's in is in the integration circuitry, which is all concerned with self-empowerment in the now. In today's world, it shows up as a deep frustration, a bully, the thing that just is a second of frustration, and it's bullying itself out the door, trying to say something about something, and it's got a deep melancholy to it. The melancholy is, I have all this power, and I don't know what to do with it. If you have gate 34 in your body graph, you know, you see a natural disaster somewhere, and suddenly you get this sadness that comes along. I see it, but I can't help. I have the power to help, but I can't help. It happens to me all the time. I have a gate 34 in my body graph. I want to change the world. You see, Jennifer, you witness this frustration in me sometimes. It turns me into a dick sometimes, you know. So, not my fault.
Yeah, my daughter has the 34 up to the manifesting generating channel, the one that connects the throat to the 34. Two of my children actually have it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's great, Sven. She's got that same definition I have.
yeah, she does. She has a lot of your same definition, Dan,
Yeah.
and same profile, and yeah. But yeah, I told she's just busy doing what she's interested in, what she wants to do, and
Taking her away from that is near impossible, isn't it?
yeah, oh yeah. She wants to do something, like she wants to be doing it now, and that I feel like it's also kind of like FOMO, like
What's FOMO? What does that mean?
Like fear of missing out, FOMO.
Oh,
no, I've never heard that.
You've never heard FOMO? Oh,
No.
I feel people say it all the time. This fear of missing out. So it's like they always want to be out doing stuff with,
with friends or not, or just they're busy doing their thing, and that power is meant to just literally pour. It's pouring out. If it's in a divine sacral, it never shuts off. Don't try and slow this kid down. Don't try and make them not do what they're doing. If they say they're going to, I always love this example. If they say they're going to dig a hole to China, let the generator start digging and maybe go on your map safe thing and make sure there's not a gas or an electric line under where he's digging or she's digging. You know, they're going to go, they need to go to China until they fall asleep. And
yeah. So when you say the difference between gate 27 is it's all about like energy to like take care of the other person, but then gate 34 is more like busy doing stuff for yourself.
For itself. Yeah. In fact, these two gates couldn't be more different in a couple of ways, because 34 is fully self-absorbed. It's self-absorbed. It's self-concerned. It's its own power, and it's not seeking a mate. It's asexual. Doesn't mean it can't have great power within its sexuality. It's just it's asexual. So it's not busy seeking a mate per se. It's busy releasing its power into 57, the intuitive insight to know what to do next. Releasing its power into gate 10, the conviction to follow your own convictions and explore your own inner self outside of influence from the other, fully outside. Don't try to influence me, 34 says. And it's busy empowering gate 20 in the throat, the manifestation of the now, the archetype of a manifesting generator. You know, see it, do it, see it, do it, see it, do it. It just sees it, it does it. And that's power in the now.
So interesting you say that, because my aunt is a manifesting generator, and I have like just observed her over the past couple of years, and she's can be pessimistic, but man, she's got some manifesting skills. I will tell you what, like it's like she worries about something and then it happens.
Yeah.
It is. And you know, she stays in the pessimistic thing because she's like, well, it's going to happen anyways. And just observing, I'm like, you're backing up what you're worrying about because you're manifesting it at the same time.
Well, then in that case, I would call it the great power to bring in that which you don't want to have happen. because it's at its foundation, there is a bully inside of every 34. And again, not the typical homogenized word we use for bully, where one kid picks on another because they're bigger. Not that, although it can be at times, it has shown up. But no, its power, it knows. The rest of the body graph recognizes, and this gate 34 knows that its power is only best when its use and its display and its release serves the common good. Because ultimately, what is the empowerment for? It's for what the sacral is really here to do. If we took all the gates away and just left the sacral with a 34, a 27, and a 59, we would be empowered in the now to have a great preservation of the children that we made through our intimacy. And we would be fine on it. Without any of the other gates, we would actually, well, we'd still need a gate 5, or we'd be dead. But that's what it would be doing. So lo and behold, that's what this bad boy is doing, and it can't help it. The incredible release of your power, release it over and over, release it so you can see, is that a yes response? Is that a no response? Is that an I don't know? It's in individual circuitry, so half the time it doesn't know, and that's okay. Release
Oh.
your power.
Isn't it also, Dan, like, since they do have so much like power and energy because it's connected to the sacral gate 34, and if they have a whole channel up to the throat, it's almost like sometimes they can get taken advantage of because
Oh,
they do
yeah.
have all this energy and they can get so much done that sometimes people kind of like, oh, hey, can you do this? Like, so sometimes they can kind of, people can kind of manipulate and use their energy since they have so much of it.
You're describing humanity in general. Every human is, not every human, but so much of humanity is always trying to hijack other aspects of other pieces of humanity rather than work in communion with it. Ask the sacral being, ask the sacral gate 34, do you feel like releasing your power for this? And when it moves, it'll know right in the moment, because if it's connected to gate 20, that's a design of where awareness must become deed. In the moment, you became aware of your response, and suddenly it became deed, manifest in the moment through gate 20, the gate of now, the gate of right flipping now. Always. No tomorrow, no minute later, no minute before, just now. The gate of the Li, where there's nothing before or nothing after. There's only this present moment. And that's what gate 34 is keyed into. It only knows this present moment. It's sacral. It's a response. So again, we're always trying to get the sacral beings out there to reorient themselves out of initiation and reorient your perspective to be in a responsive stance, like the runner at the running line waiting for the response of the bullet being shot. You know, right? The referee shoots the gun and boom, everyone's off and running. That's what this whole sacral center is here to do. Reorient itself out of initiating. If you have 34, you want to initiate all the time. I want to make it happen. I want to make it happen. I want to release my power. Reorient yourself one step back into a responsive state so that you're sitting at the starting line, waiting to race into where your response will take you. It must be a response to the life, or you're missing it. It must be a response, or you miss out on all of the things that it was there to give its sustained energy for. There's no way around that. That's a thing. Get used to it. Start to witness it in your experiment, and you'll see.
Yeah.
This is where this brings you. It brings you to where you're supposed to be as a response, and it tortures you into where you're definitely not supposed to be as an initiation, where you're trying to, quote, make something happen, letting mind think it thinks it knows what you need to do next. So, anything else on 34 before we go up to gate 5?
Oh, well, should we save those other great gates for next time?
I was just going to say that because we have 4 more left.
We have 4 more left?
Yeah, we could save the other 4 for next week because we've been on for an hour and 7 minutes.
I agree.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I was just responding. So I noticed I want to talk about gate 5, and now I'm not gonna.
Well, we'll save it for next week.
Ask me some questions, Jennifer, about not talking about gate 5. Ask me some yes or no questions if you can think of any, or Savannah. I would like to see what my responses are.
Well, I have to get going. My kids and my husband are about to get ready to come to the door, so I have to get going. But
we'll go do your thing. I'll close this out. Yeah, it'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anna, thank you. We need you. Always come. Thank you.
Yes. Are you upset about not doing gate 5?
Moderately, but I'll be okay. Ask me some more.
I know you were on a roll, but it's a good stopping point because then we can do part 2 and we'll have the other ones left. We'll have an even number, just about an even number. So,
did your smile and asking me that question help me not feel upset about not doing gate 5? Yes.
I know you're anxious to get to gate 5, but we'll save it for next week. So that was an excellent episode. I love learning about all the different gates. And
so the ones we didn't get to, sorry about leaving you in suspense over all of that.
Yeah, just hold that, but I know you won't. We'll see if it comes. We'll get you geared up for next week to do that, so you're around the same energy.
Yeah, no, it'll be there for it. So Wednesday, I had a thought for Wednesday. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
Who's that Tate guy, Andrew Tate, Adam Tate, Michael. What? There's this Tate person. Something Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him? There's
I'm
lots
bad with names. I gotta.
He's that guy who was that MMA wrestler.
No, that was a kickboxer.
Yep, kickboxer, and people have been going around. Hey, what's your opinion of is it Andrew Tate?
Yes, that's what.
What's your opinion of Andrew Tate? People have been. I've been seeing it on Instagram a lot. Do you have an opinion? People would say, "Oh, he's a misogynist. He's this. He's that." And then they would ask him, "Why do you say that?" And they wouldn't really have much of an answer for it. And it was just really cute. So I noticed he's been getting a lot of headway, and then suddenly, recently, he's been showing up as somebody apparently who's trying to ask the men in the world to man back up. We need our men. We need our men back in order to fix a lot of what's going on this planet. I've been noticing so many women on Instagram pointing out we need our men back. We don't need toxic back, but we need that masculine back that like wrestles with logs and rips chainsaws out and tears things apart.
Arcseed's going to pull up a quote where he didn't have positive things to say about women.
No, apparently he didn't have a lot of positive things to say in the very beginning. When I say in the beginning, recently I've seen things that he said that really felt very repulsive. And so I got to look at his age and determine is he on a trajectory of growing up? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a feeling about doing that one or not? Not yet.
My non-response is I mean, no, okay. I don't know who he is, and I think it's a good topic. I think there's a lot of misconception of what a divine masculine is and the divine feminine. And to be honest, like on the whole topic, there are very few men that were raised in an environment to even know what a true divine masculine is. So it's a learning lesson. When it comes to this guy, just looking at him, I mean, I would have to do research on him. But what my body is saying is the first thing that came in was that Papa said that, it's irrelevant. He's not on my radar. So I don't, Yeah,
I was speaking with Nikki, and he came up on our radar. I was talking to her about someone possibly for Wednesday, and this name came up because he's on her radar. As someone who's been going through a growth process. So yeah, he was a little, man, bad boy for the longest time and didn't have very nice things to say. And suddenly he started appearing as if he's growing up. Like, hey, some of that stuff was whatever, but now I need to point out this new way. So
if he's doing that, that's great. Yep. But also that does not happen overnight. And a lot of these divine feminine, just speaking from a divine feminine standpoint, once we start waking up and healing, both the divine feminine and the masculine, because a lot of us have, and myself included, stand in our masculine because we haven't had that positive male role model in our life. So it goes with the balance on both sides. And anybody right now that's coming out of the celebrities, it takes a lot for me to convince. If they're one way one week and then something happens the next week, you still got years to go. It's my opinion.
Still in the middle of your thing.
Yeah, it is. So I don't know who he is. And I mean, if you want to, I mean, he came up, but I have no clue. I haven't seen him come across my radar.
Let's move on. So I'm really excited to do more couples readings. I've had so many successes with couples now. They just keep showing up. And so if you're in a partnership, relationship, whatever, and you want an actual couples partnership reading, I don't need to have read for you in advance. We can do you both at the same time and get this together. There's one requirement. You have to be open and receptive. You have to be open and receptive to it. So if you come in and you think you're going to want to only find out what's wrong with the other so that you can say, aha, that won't work. That's all. Just be open and receptive to find out where both of you as partners are sort of helpless, but to be these things, and the other will see it through the course of the reading, and the empathy and the compassion will start to return to your relationship enough to find out if it's worth keeping. So if you're in that struggle point and you're open and receptive, we'll get you patched up. We will get you patched up. I've now seen it happen too many times.
People can go look at the reviews on our YouTube channel. We've had great feedback when it comes to you doing couple readings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it helps. It definitely helps a lot. Some of the advice that I have given to some of my friends who are in relationships, I mean, just scratching the surface, understanding what you know, how you're designed, what your profile is, and what your strategy and authority is, goes a long way. And then you can really dive into exactly how the two of y'all operate together, which Dan's phenomenal with. So thank you for bringing that up. I think it's important that, again, that goes back into the whole topic of the divine masculine and then the divine feminine. A lot of us never really did see a healthy relationship growing up. And even if it was healthy on the outside, there was probably some dysfunction and not acting in accordance to how we are designed and all sorts of things, because we're all going through this deconditioning process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on
So,
that note,
yes,
like
it is.
done, Jennifer.
Huh?
Looks like we're done.
Yes. Artsy says, Dan has made my skeptic husband a believer, and we haven't had an actual couple reading. We plan to, though. Absolutely.
Please. Yes. Arcseed. Call it in. Hurry.
Yeah. And Corinne has a suggestion. And I think this is a good one. Keanu Reeves. We have not done Keanu Reeves.
Do you want to do Keanu Reeves?
It would be an interesting design to see.
Yeah, Keanu.
I will say this. Keanu Reeves, he's been, I mean, even though he did the movie The Matrix, he's already come out and said that that's documentary. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's actually what happens after, when the Terminator ends. That's the next segment of that whole process. So it'd be interesting to see his design, and because he's always donated his money.
Does he appear to be on the light side of things?
I have a feeling that he is. I mean, even if there is something that comes out with him, it would not surprise me if he is some inside operative to this whole fucking grand scheme of things. You know, like he's probably been in there to gather information and stuff like that. But anytime you do research Keanu Reeves, you don't really find anything, you know, bad that comes up. He's always, I don't even think he lives in anything fancy. He's always, you know, he's humble is the energy that I get. So it'd be interesting to see what his design is.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think I would like to. Yeah.
Okay, we can definitely, I'll put that down. And then next week.
With one caveat, unless something major comes up in the news between now and then that we simply must get, because I've also heard a lot of people say they want to see Taylor Swift, and I'm just not really all that interested in doing Taylor Swift's chart. But apparently there's a whole big to-do about her at this moment. Ask Arcseed. Arcseed, should we not do Taylor Swift at this time? So she can say no real quick.
I already know what
I already know what she's going to say too. Yeah.
You know how I feel. And if we're going to talk about Taylor Swift, then get prepared, because we'll talk about things that happen in Nashville.
Oh yeah, no. We're going to have to save that.
She said no. Thank you.
So we're looking at potentially Keanu Reeves.
All right. Well, we have him down. We also have a couple of other ones, so we'll keep those in mind. Again, we do like to stay with what's going on currently. There's been so much that has happened just even over the weekend, so we'll see what happens going on in this upcoming week. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in today. If you are looking for copies of any of the slides, you'll be able to find the PDF within the description. Don't make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow the show. And we will see you on Wednesday night.
Catch you guys later.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.